it's so smooth. I know, right? Yeah. R8RBEAR! Let's go! Oh, no. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, no. That's not where I was. Where was I? There we go. Oh, good lord. Often imitated, never duplicated. That fool with no hair, that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! You heard me. The R8RBEAR! Alright. I got it all out. Alexa, cease. Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, she even picked up cease. That's pretty good. Cease and desist. What's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Your boy R8RBEAR, just dripping in silver tonight. Feeling that silver and Aw, boo. No sound. Okay, hold on. Let me skip forward. Silent bear. I already did, Mama Bear. Just bring pictures next time. That's messed up. No, stop checking on me and asking me if it's working or not. I don't need you mamaing me, Mama Bear. I'll do that when I know she can't see me. Wait, what?
Was it muted?
Huh?
It was on mute, huh?
No. There was clearly sound. It was not a problem. My audience is just having fun. That's all. They're just having fun with me.
No, you muted it.
Go away. Go on. Vicky Orr told me to leave you alone.
Say hi to Milo. Hi, Milo.
And Vicky Orr was the gold medalist tonight.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah. It's about time we need caption options. Oh my God. Raider Devillion, what's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome everyone to the show. My bad. Okay, I'm going to do my whole opening again. Ready? Da-da-da-da-da. I don't know where I kind of left off with you guys or where I lost you, but I was talking about ticket sales and the fact that the Raiders have a 129% increase of ticket sale, or excuse me, of the cost of their ticket sales. And ticket prices have risen 129%. Now, that's a lot, and the fans are tripping. A lot of diehard fans are tripping. A lot of fans are having a hard time getting to games, etc., because of the rise in cost. Mark Vargas, you won the gold medal tonight. Jim Vanderland came in second, and third was someone else. Hang on. I think I can still bring it up. Let me see if I can bring the comment. Not that that really matters, but... Okay, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Jim Vanderland was second, and David Pelkliva was third. And then on Facebook, Vicky Orr won the gold medal, Carlos Boykins won a silver, and Dustin King won the bronze. And there you are. Now let me move down here and get back to your guys' comments, since now you can hear me and I'm no longer foobarring my screen. Mark Vargas, wait a minute, you're keeping the time? Give me a break. No, no, Tommy, no. No, I'm not starting all over again, Tommy. You stop that. Steeler Val, isn't it Tommy's bedtime? It's a little bit late for him. Just kidding, Tommy, just kidding. No, Corinna, no, she did not get messages. It was not Mama Bear that fixed it. She had nothing to do with it. I fixed it. Sebastian Soto de Leon, what's up, man? Well, Sebastian, I was talking about the increase in ticket sales, price of ticket sales. Mark Davis has been slowly rising them for the last 5 years. Kind of bummed about it because it's made it impossible for a lot of diehard Raider fans to get to games. The increase from when we were in Oakland till now is 3 times as much as what we were paying for similar seats in Oakland. And so it's just kind of sad, you know what I mean, because the inflation of it. Now, when I say inflation, I'm not talking about politics, and I'm not talking about the price of whatever, being raised by this, because inflation is not affecting football. It's not. It has nothing to do with it. Whatever the inflation is of other items you buy here and there, that has nothing to do with football. So the price of eggs goes up and milk goes up and all that other stuff, that has nothing to do with sports tickets. Nothing at all. So when they make these increases, they're simply doing it because they want to do it. That's it. And they're just putting the cost back to the consumer. It sucks. You know what I mean? And you especially shouldn't be doing it when you're producing a team that we all love, but you're not giving your best effort to put out a winner. They're just not. I don't care what it takes. Last year, when they had franchise quarterbacks available, you had to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And he's not doing that. This is not all in. This does not feel all in. This feels like you're shortchanging Antonio Pierce and saying to yourself, it's a win-win situation for Mark Davis. Mark Davis sees it that way. If Antonio Pierce goes out there and wins, the fans are happy. If he goes out there and loses, he gets a better draft position and an opportunity to fire him and hire someone else that he thinks maybe is more qualified or whatever. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't show respect to Antonio Pierce. It doesn't show respect to the situation at all to me. They did the same thing to Hugh Jackson. When we had him in Oakland, he was good, and he started to produce a winner, and then as soon as things started to work out, they're like, okay, bye. We don't need you anymore. You know. Recap. I'm on that, Dustin. Okay, so ticket prices and the fact that they've skyrocketed, I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk a little bit about our game coming up against the Ravens, so I'm going to do that now. Only to say that I think that we're going to beat the Ravens. I really do. I think that they're built for us to beat them because we want to play the same way. But I feel like talent-wise, I feel like we have more talent on our offense than they have on their offense. So I feel like they're going to struggle to beat our defense, where we may have our struggles to beat their defense, but I think ultimately we can prevail as the better team. Because I liked what I saw last Sunday. I liked what I saw. They just couldn't get the rhythm. And then the defense played great. It's just they were playing too many snaps. You know what I mean? So, penalties were low. Personnel was getting on and off the field quickly. No problems with that. You know what I mean? Right personnel in the right places, guys making plays, defense playing hard, stunts and switches are working. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. I liked what I saw. We just couldn't finish against the Chargers. And we have to remember, it's a rivalry game. It's supposed to be difficult. There's supposed to be times where, you may lose just because it's your rival. You know what I mean? And you play the Broncos, and they're going to get up for their lives to play us, and then probably lose the next 6 in a row. You know what I mean? If, say, they were to beat us. Corinna Trail, you ratted me out to Mama Bear. Alpha and Omega forever, you are killing me. Yeah, Haktua. I just don't like the kid. I almost called him Haktua. I do not like Tua. I just don't. I do not like him. I do not. Now, him as a guy, I mean, he seems like a nice kid. You know what I mean? He seems really nice, but, well-raised, respects his family, all that stuff. And you can tell it in that by his behavior, how he was at the draft, how he knew he was going to be a high-round pick, but he still was at home with his family. I thought that was great. So, long story short, though, you had your hip separated. That's an accident that normally happens to people in cars and car accidents, and it usually happens to the elderly, not a guy in his peak of fitness and in his youthful years have that happen. So you get a hip separation, you're done with the Bear. I would have never signed that guy, and I would have no interest in him now. If he fell into free agency, no thanks. And I know that sounds crazy. A lot of you are like, wait a minute, if Tua was available, you wouldn't get him? I wouldn't. Because why would we assume he would be anything more than what he was with Miami? With Miami, he's all right. Obviously personnel can change and coaches can change, and then a guy can, be different than he was. So I'm not saying that it couldn't work, entirely. But see, to me, Tua is what he is. He's pigeonholed. He can hit a guy here and there, but his footwork is slow. His arm delivery is bad. Yeah, I just, when he gets pressure, he's terrible. You know what I mean? He both can't evade pressure and doesn't make the right decision oftentimes when he's under pressure. So I'm good with Tua. Bear, at least I was right about the defense holding the Chargers well under 13. It's out half. Yeah, no, you were right, and the defense did play well. And to be Carina, Trujillo, and Steven Shaw. That's right, and always remember to tip your host. You tip your host like you tip your waiter. Appreciate the love on the lid and the coat. Appreciate that. Don't worry, it was a good song and dance. Jimmy Mata, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Oh, hold on, let me throw a little Jimmy Mata respect out there. If you guys like the Bears custom cup here, get with my guy Jimmy Mata. You see his name in the comments. He can make you your own custom, cup, because my stuff is custom. Okay. Omar Epps, Resident Evil. Denton Rhodes blames it on Bidenomics. I like Bidenomics. Done a lot for us. Reyes Antonio, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Hey, Bear, how are you doing, my Raider brother? Right on. I appreciate that, Ellis Irving. I'm doing real well. Good photo. Looking good with the family. Mr. Raider Bear, we missed everything you said, and it looked like you were saying something good. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'm going to go back to it. Raider Carlito, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Okay, first, I want to say this. If there are any people watching me right now who have family members that work in law enforcement or specifically are police officers, if you yourself are a police officer or you're in love with a police officer, I just want to say all that first. I don't mean any disrespect, but I think even the best officers know that there are bad officers and that there are just officers sometimes that make mistakes. And I feel like those officers in the Tyreek Hill situation were under a lot of stress. They knew a lot of people were watching them. I think they didn't want to look like they were giving him favoritism because he's a superstar. If you go back and you listen to the audio of the policeman's chest camera, you can hear the officers saying, "That's Tyreek Hill. That's Tyreek Hill. That's Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins." And they were saying it over and over again before they actually opened the door, grabbed him behind his neck, and dragged him out. So I don't really understand why that happened. Now, for those of you who don't know this, and I think most of you don't know this, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't really know this until I researched it. But supercars, like those ones that have the gull wings and all that stuff, the seat belts come off and on very differently. And so when you open the door and it has a gullwing door that opens like that, there's the way the seat belting works is very different. And so you often have to wait for the door to open all the way up before you can actually unharness your seatbelt. And then there's the fact that he was doing something with his window, like he kept rolling his window up and down and up and down, making the officer ask him more than once to roll it down. But I've seen hundreds of times where people are pulled over, they roll their window down, and then they roll it back up, or they roll it down just a little bit, and the officer never ends up yanking them out like they're a sack of potatoes. And if they do take them out, they open the door and take them out. These guys were screaming and hollering at him, saying they were going to smash his window and all this. Why? Why is smashing his window necessary? Do they really think Tyreek... Is he really suddenly now going to grab a gun? Were the police officers really frightened for their lives? Because let's be honest, that's why they do that. It's the explanation that they're given is if an officer feels like their life is threatened, they have the right to smash the glass because they don't want him reaching for a knife or a gun. Okay, but we're talking about a multi-million-dollar football player who happens to be going to the very stadium he plays for. He's less than a block from getting there and doing what he needs to do, but he's going to kill officers. I would venture to guess that everyone that's watching me right now has probably been pulled over by a policeman at least once. And whether you were nice or shouted at them or said you don't agree with the ticket or you weren't speeding or anything like that, did any of them grab you and yank you out of the car? I've never been yanked out of a car. I've argued with officers. I've shouted at officers. I have. I had an officer one time come in on my passenger side while the other officer was talking to me on the driver's side, and the passenger side cop started talking to my sons. And I went, excuse me, I said, don't do that. Don't do that. My sons have nothing to do with you. They have nothing to do with the vehicle. Don't do that. Don't do that. And by the way, I know you're just trying to make me mad, so you can let that go too, because you're not going to have any problems with me. I don't have any weapons. There's no drugs in this car. I just want you not talking to my sons. That's it. I'll say that right into your camera and your boy's camera here. I don't take shit from anybody, not even me. It was a speed trap, and I was literally going like 15 miles an hour, and they still pulled me over. Never mind. Mr. Raiderbear, we missed everything you said. I did that already. Let's move forward. Jim Vanderlyn. How can Davis raise the prices when you can't put a winning team on the field? You know, honestly, he made those bank loans through Bank of America. Bank of America is considered to be the flagship bank of Las Vegas. So there's more Bank of Americas in Las Vegas than any other teller chain, bank chain. It's B of A. So they made most of their deals with B of A. So it's massive money that has to be paid back. And Mark Davis, last time I checked, he wasn't in the black. And so he's basically hemorrhaging money. You know what I mean? And he smiles whenever he's on TV and whenever anyone interviews him, because you have to do that. Because otherwise, you'll look stupid, especially after we saw what he did with his house in Vegas and bought this mansion, and he's bouncing around with some blonde. I mean, did that make any sense to you? Why did Mark Davis have that blonde up there sitting next to him? She's married with kids. What are you doing? Eric Jett said that's why a lot of fans are going to away games. That's kind of how I saw it too. I just figured I'll wait until they come play these Cardinals out here in Arizona, and then I'll just go root for my Raiders there. I've been looking forward to a reason anyway to kind of give Cardinal fans the business. Yeah, Vicky, it does, and moreover, it's because you're asking a fan base to accept that you left from Oakland a second time. Okay, so you can't do that. You know, there are just Raider fans out there that, in my opinion, are not Raider fans anymore because they left Oakland a second time. There were those that quit on him for moving the first time, those that quit on him for moving the second time, and then now the ones that stayed loyal, the ones that still love their Raiders, follow them into Vegas and love the team. But I don't think Mark Davis has shown us love. You know, all that stuff he does, you know, hugging us as fans and taking photos with us, that's easy. That's like a politician kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But behind our backs, behind closed doors, in secret meetings, on private phone calls, he negotiates things that hurt us, that make it where being a Raider fan isn't what it used to be. You know what I mean? He is under pressure from the NFL. So I want to be clear about that. Mark Davis, the NFL did not want the Raiders in Vegas. Vegas is an incredibly fertile town financially. Every business that goes there pretty much knows they're going to command a lot of money. It's just hard to get in there. The buildings and the permits and all that stuff, the prices are skyrocket high because you buy land or anything like out there, it's so valuable, it can break a lot of people just trying to get in there. Well, not an NFL team, not an NFL owner. So he got in there, he got his stadium, but there are billionaires all over the place that would love it to watch Mark Davis fall on his face, not be able to cover these loans, face bankruptcy and being thrown out of the NFL and having to sell the team. Don't think it can't happen, because remember, it happened to the Washington Commanders, formerly the Redskins, and it happened to them. And don't get it twisted. Remember, that team has a few Super Bowls. Their logo and their image is worth billions of dollars in marketing. Trust me, they're as prestigious as far as logo and jersey colors and things like that, and their fans just as much as the Raiders. No doubt about it. Not more, but not less. It's right there with us. It's the demand. The casinos are the ones outbidding for seats for their casino guests. Yeah, there's that. There's a lot of outside interests, yes, that are raising tickets. That's the reason that we don't have home field advantage anymore. Sebastian Soto de Leon, honestly, I'm venturing to guess you'll agree with this, but most of us saw that coming. The Dallas Cowboys showed us that. You know what I mean? The Dallas Cowboys created football Disneyland in another stadium, raised their prices, and made it into neutral ground. And now they have to deal with the fact that there are times when other fan bases go into their stadium and they out yell and out support the road team more than they do the Dallas Cowboys. That's on Jerry Jones. But at the same time, it's accurate. Shame, but it's accurate. Okay, so let me get off all the sad stuff for a second, and we'll go into the injury report real quick. So Brock Bowers is getting full practice. I know he's still listed on the injured list, but that's just because his foot is still in the process. You know what I mean? They still feel like they want to take him slow. So he's getting full practices, but he's still listed as nursing that foot. Divine Diablo's doing great. Same thing, shoulder, but it's just a nick kind of thing. It's not a genuine injury, and so he got full practice Wednesday and Thursday. Tommy Eichenberg, great news. The knee is feeling better. He's got full practice Wednesday and today. He's killing it. He's going to be out there. I'm pretty positive. Unless something goes wrong Friday, we should see a little bit more of Tommy Eichenberg. Our center, Andre James, he had a limited practice Wednesday, but he got a full practice today, and it's something to do with his elbow, so I got to guess they'll just tape him up and he'll be fine. Colton Miller, now, he had a limited practice Wednesday. He had a full practice today. Now, it's his knee, though, and remember, we've talked about this. Anytime it's your big man and it's an injury below the waist, you're in trouble. Hamstrings, glutes, knees, calves, foot injuries, any of those things, and you're a big guy, it's really hard to come back from them because all you can do is get a surgery and then do nothing. And so a lot of them get fat, they get out of shape, but there's nothing you can do. You just have to let it heal. Okay, better news moving forward. Jackson Powers Johnson, still that illness, had limited practice Wednesday and today. I think the limited part of it, though, is on us. I think they only limited his practice to make sure he didn't re-aggravate things. I think he may play. DeCamarion Richardson, hamstring, did not practice whatsoever. He is out. And TYREE Wilson, bad news. That knee is worse than we thought, and he did not practice at all this week. He will not play. DeCamarion Richardson also will not play. There's a chance we'll see Jackson Powers Johnson, but I got to imagine. I did just say I thought he might play, but I take that back. With 2 limited practices, even if he gets a full practice Friday, I don't know if they want to aggravate him when we want to get up to 1-1 record and not 0-2. But I don't know if you risk the future of one of our youngest guys, just to get him out there for a game. But he's feeling better. It does say it's about a bug. We got limited, but hopefully Friday, if he gets a full practice, we'll know he's feeling better. All right, now let's get to the elephant in the room. TYREE Wilson is probably going to get released or cut. Now, the reason that's going to happen is because, unlike a lot of other defensive ends we've had, like Arden Key, for example, Arden Key stayed relatively healthy. He had prototypical size, could bend, had good speed, so the Niners gave him a shot. He did work out for the Niners, well, a little bit, but he was never going to be what we wanted him to be. Now, you look at TYREE Wilson, he was a number 8 pick in the first round, high expectations. You look at his film from college, he murders guys, but it's always the same way. Grab that sack of potatoes in front of you and throw it right or throw it left. Okay, well, you can't do that with offensive linemen in the NFL. You just can't. Now, you might every once in a while beat one of them that way because their balance is off or they guess wrong that you're going to go right and you go left. But outside of that, if your only move is to run into them and then try to physically manhandle them, you're not going to have a long history in this league. Now, having said that, that's kind of where I'm getting at, is that his technique is so poor and he has so little physical gifts to give him better technique that he's just going to end up falling through the cracks and he's going to be He's going to be history because I could see where other NFL teams say to themselves, usually, hey, this guy's a project. We make a reclamation project out of him. Just get him. We put him on our bench and just work on him real hard and see if we can't make him better. There's probably a team in the league that will do that. You know what I mean? Just because of where he's drafted and everything, they'll think the Raiders are just mishandling this guy. And so there's a chance he'll get another opportunity. But the problem with that is when he gets that other opportunity, there's going to be eyes on him the whole time. There's going to be eyes on him that are expecting him to do exactly what he did for us, next to nothing. And then he'll be gone for sure. Okay, now on to the injured list for the Ravens. Linebacker Adisa, I like that. Adisa, yeah, because it doesn't have two D's in it. It's Adisa, Udisa Isaac. Linebacker, hamstring, limited Wednesday and limited Thursday. So, a linebacker, usually they'll go, unless they're really bad, they'll go. And so, if he gets another limited or a full practice tomorrow, you got to figure he's going to play. One of their linebackers that we always wanted, we were looking at him in the draft. We didn't get a chance to make a move on him. Roquan Smith, inside linebacker. He's got a bad shoulder. He was limited on Wednesday, but he got a full practice today, so he's probably going to go. Kyle Van Noy, that's the guy that played for years with the Patriots, winning Super Bowls with them. He did not practice at all Wednesday or Thursday, and it actually says an eye, so he probably got thumbed in the eye, something like that. But that can be pretty bad. I've seen guys that had that where the nail scratches their retina, and it's bad. It's bad. It F's with how your eyes take in light. Sometimes it's more or less, and it can make you have vision problems and migraines, and it's bad. Last but not least, Nate Wiggins, corner, bad neck. He wasn't even he wasn't even at the facility Wednesday. And Thursday he did not practice, so he's not going to play. And that's going to hurt because Nate Wiggins is a good cornerback for them. Okay, so that's our injury report. All done with that. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Honestly, I was impressed. Some people are really talking now about Alexander Mattison from that one play he made. Makes the great catch with his hands, makes the run, breaks a tackle, shows speed to get to the end zone, and finish the play with a touchdown. I thought that was impressive. I think with that, Zamir White has to watch out because if he doesn't get his act together, this guy's going to take his job. And I don't know if you guys remember me saying, but if you look at him right now, he beefed up to be ready to be the one. And you can tell because if you go back and look at Alexander Mattison when he played for the Vikings, he was skinny. He looked like a wide receiver. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of ones. I mean, that guy that plays for the Chiefs, the running back Pacheco, he's a smaller, thin guy, and yet he runs hard and goes hard, up the middle. And he's a punishing back for a little frame guy. He's just hard, though. I see the same thing in Alexander Mattison. It's like he gained 15 pounds and just hard muscle, and now he just. I think we got a real steal in Alexander Mattison. I think he's going to really do some things for us. Super excited by him. Okay. So getting back to what we were saying about the Ravens and the matchup. I think the biggest thing we're going to want to do is stop Derrick Henry. Now, as obvious as that is, it still has to be said because it has to be given more emphasis than a coach would normally say with that. You always want to stop the running game of another team. That's just a given. But in this instance, you have to. Because if you let Derrick Henry beat you, that means you let them beat you with their other option, as opposed to making Lamar Jackson either use his legs or put the ball in the air. Anytime you do those two things, run with the ball or put the ball in the air, it's greater risk that the opponent can get the ball back. But if you give it to Derrick Henry, one, he does not fumble. And two, and more importantly, he's going to bash your defense, and he can do it all day long. And if we can't get him on the ground, we're going to have problems. Now, I think Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, John Jenkins, and the size that we have in the middle will force him to move out of those initial gaps and try to either get the edge or maybe get around the edge, run down the sidelines. because I don't think he's going to be able to. I don't think they're going to make movement on our middle. I really don't. You saw a little bit of it last week, but that wasn't until late in the game. I like our chances. I really do. I like our chances. So right now, the Raiders' offense ranks 18th, which is obviously a little bit worse than middle of the pack. But we've got to work on that. We're 29th in rushing, and we're 8th in passing. So the passing game, it looked decent. There were some mistakes, but Gardner Minshew, for the most part, was effective. He did make what I felt was a backup quarterback kind of mistake in going to throw a ball, just changing his mind, and then trying to do the old tuck it back away, and he squeezed too hard, the ball popped out of his hand. Now, see, to me, how often do you really even see that happen to a quarterback? It's very rare, because it's been coached out of football. Most coaches will tell him, don't pump, don't go to throw, unless you're sure. Now, if you're going to pump the ball and do fakes and things like that, you got to be a caliber of an Aaron Rodgers. You need to be in the league for a minute. You need to show that you have that ability. Then, okay, go ahead. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they've got Patrick Mahomes throwing balls behind his back. Personally, I don't respect the Chiefs. I mean, it goes beyond just not liking them or them being a rival of ours. Not only does it go beyond that, it goes beyond it to the extent that I feel like it's a disrespect to the game to let your quarterback showboat on other teams. It's never been a part of the NFL. You celebrate when you score a touchdown. You show out and you show it when you're running with the ball and you score. But this thing with this behind the back, who cares if he can do it? I'm being honest, who cares? If I saw Gardner Minshew or AOC trying to perfect a behind-the-back pass, it better be after 3 Super Bowls. I'm just saying. All right, let me get back to you guys and your questions here. It is greed, Carlos Magana. It just flat out is, but Mark has to pay back those loans with the bank. If he gets too far behind, he could be forced to sell. And I feel like the NFL is hoping that happens. They never wanted him. They never wanted him in Vegas. They did not want the Raiders in Vegas. The Raiders, if they were owned by someone else, but not with Mark Davis. R8RBEAR, I did like the defense, but what about the offense did you like? Well, I liked how Alexander Madison was running, catching with the ball, obviously the big play for the touchdown. He had an all-around game, and it showed, and to me, Zamir White struggled. You know what I mean? He struggled. He had a couple of plays, but for the most part, he struggled. And I just don't know if there's enough of Zamir White to really be what Josh Jacobs was. You know what I mean? Josh Jacobs, we're missing his ability. Because had we had him last week, there's no way the Chargers win that game. If we have Josh Jacobs' production, there's no way we lose that game. He would have been running it down the Chargers' throats. We would have had at least 2 touchdowns going into the second quarter, or the third quarter. It would have been a totally different game. But Zamir White couldn't get going, and then it forced us to go to Gardner Minshew. The line started to have problems because the defensive line could attack differently because they knew they were shutting down our run play and that we were going to have to start switching it up and throw the ball. JP, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Hi, Kim Calhoun. R8RBEAR, did I like the defense? But okay, yeah, I read that. Moses Ruiz, we do need a quarterback. I do not, and I want to make it clear before I say anything, we are not tanking. Antonio Pierce will not tank. There is no truth to any sort of rumors of tanking, so just get that out of your head now. Now, I realize, though, to some of you who really know football, because I know I have a few people among me who really know football, who've been watching it for all their lives, and, they understand it. Oftentimes, a team that has no quarterback is just the sort of team that throws games because they want to change their position in the draft. You have, two guys at quarterback that are, now personally, I like AOC. I think he was going to be great. And I think we're stunting his growth because Josh McDaniels didn't believe in him, put him in, and then yanked him out and then made him sit and went back to Jimmy injured. You know what I mean? And I just, he's been so messed with. And then now he comes this year, he can't win the job because he threw one pick in the last preseason game, the same pick Gardner Minshew threw, but the defender dropped it when Gardner Minshew threw it. It's a fact. Go back and look at the last preseason game. Yeah, Eric Jett, I don't think Tua is going to be in the league very long. I really don't. I really don't. And it has less to do with his talent and more to do with how he gets hit. He's not good. He's not good at protecting his body. He's one of the few guys, he has no baseball slide. He has no interpretation of his speed relative to another player's. So he will look at a player and think, I can shake him, I'll spin off him, and then he gets blasted in his chest because he thinks he's more athletic than he actually is. And when his own coach said it, I was on board. And then I started watching it at his tape, and you could just see it. Kim, honestly, there are a lot of people that are not satisfied with what they're getting from Gardner Minshew, but we have to be patient. It's one game, and it's a game that we felt like we were going to win, right up to the, halftime, and then, all the issues started to happen. Why is Devontae always the story to be traded? Is there any truth to the rumors? Moses Ruiz, the only truth to the rumors are if we have a bad season, the Raiders will look to move him. They will. Houdini trying to get out of a straitjacket. There we go. I know, right? Even silver thermal line. I love it. But I was getting hot. R8RBEAR, after watching the body cam, I had no sympathy. Tyreek was beyond disrespectful. Raider Devillion, but I get all that, but there is no law about being disrespectful. There's no law against that. What society has been trained to think is that when an officer gives you orders, that you must abide by them perfectly. Okay, now, I get that. But at the same time, not every person is the same. And so some people do argue. Some people do resist verbally and say, no, I'm not going to open my car door and get out because I don't understand why you're making me get out of the car. Now, I would have felt the exact same way if I was pulled over for speeding and then the officer said, get out of the car. I don't love that. Now, it was broad daylight. There were other cars going by and everything, so probably he doesn't get killed. But at the same time, we can't be gullible. It happens. It happens to people of our color. We get shot and killed, oftentimes unarmed and over nothing. And this was nothing. By the way, when the officers went to put him on the ground, he said that he had just had a knee surgery and that he was just trying to be careful. And a cop jumped on his back with both arms on either of his shoulders and pushed him to the ground. Then once they had him on the ground, the guy took his groin and put it in his face and stood over him, even though he was handcuffed, as though he was going to run away or become dangerous. So as far as his behavior, that's not illegal. And it did not warrant raising the level of physicality to the way that they did. There was just no need for that. The guy's a famous wide receiver. You know who he is. He's not trying to get onto some kind of body cams, embarrassment video. He's trying to cooperate, but he's a rich, spoiled, probably didn't want to deal with these officers. And then they said, we're going to bust your windows and yank you out of the car. And then he said, all right. So he opened the door, and then they yanked him out of the car instead of letting him get out. throws him down on the ground, put their knee in his back. Was that necessary? And then once his lawyer got there, the police and the lawyer and the guy walked over with him. They go over to the fence, and he's still handcuffed almost the entire time. And then finally an officer came over and unhandcuffed him. Why did he have to be handcuffed? How was he a danger? And then not only that, why was he handcuffed that long? It just, I realize a lot of people have different opinions of it. It's just that's what it is today. You know what I mean? No matter how right someone is, there's always someone else that's just going to say, nope, you're wrong. Tyreek should have behaved better. Behavior is not a reason to do what those officers did. It's just not. And his behavior, whether it was bad or not, if you graded his bad behavior, it ain't up here. It's down here. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was all mouth. He didn't swing at anyone. He didn't try to run. He didn't resist. So, you're asking the wrong guy. Now, as far as Devontae Moses Ruiz, I think the real reason why he's the conversation is because he's so valuable. And so every team in the league that looks like they're not going to have a great season, good teams scout those bad teams for their best players and then try to poach them. I know I haven't said anything you don't know. I know you realize that. But what I'm getting at is explaining that as why we're getting these interactions from other teams and why the press keeps creating these stories, because they're hearing that other teams are interested in Devontae Adams, namely the Jets and the Cowboys. And I don't think we're interested in making a deal with either of those teams. Mr. Bear, I'd be sassy because my Steelers won, but they look bad. Yeah, Val, honestly, the Steelers, they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble because their defense is keeping them engaged and it's hiding a lot of their deficiencies, but I don't know how long you can do that. They were Jacksonville Jaguars fans. What do you think about the Las Vegas native Caillou Blue Kelly signing to the practice squad yesterday? Well, I think it's just a depth signing. You know what I mean? We need a hot body. They had a position. He looks like a decent player. You bring him in. But I don't expect him to crack the lineup or anything like that. Andy Jimenez, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Raider DeVille, yeah. I appreciate what you're. I'll just read it. No glass was smashed, bro. He didn't comply with anything when they were respectful. I'm black, by the way. Now, I get it, Raider DeVille. I do. But all I'm saying is that it was a speeding ticket. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think that he was. And honestly, you've probably seen more of the video than I have. I only saw a little bit. I saw most of the back end of it. I didn't see the window rolling up and down. I didn't see the initial interaction with the officers to him and how that went down. It did seem like what I saw of the officers, the little piece I did before they actually got him out of the car, was that they were getting annoyed because he was kind of peekabooing the window. But I just don't understand how peekabooing a window means now I'm going to take you, a guy they know is this really wealthy player, a guy they know is this really, probably cocky, rich guy, and you slam his face on the ground. I just think it's a bad look. It's just a bad look. In today's day and age, that shouldn't have happened. There was just no reason that should have happened. Nothing of what he did, resistance-wise, that I saw, warranted that kind of raising of the bar. Like, for example, I would have rather they did smash his window. Smash his window. Pull him out that way. And, okay, you know what I mean? But you open his door, you grab him behind the neck, you pull him down. I just, the whole knee in the back. I just don't understand why that was necessary. Why not just give him his ticket? He was speeding. Whether he'll get in and out of the car or not, why does that really matter? Just give him his ticket. How many times have you been ticketed for speeding? Because I'll admit I've had a few, and I've never, ever had a police officer say, "Step out of the car, sir." Now, granted, I was respectful. Before they get to the car, I always have my hands on the steering wheel with my fingers open like this so they know I have nothing. Then when they get to the window and I see them, I go, okay, and I roll down the window with one hand. And then I just tell them, I'm just doing this out of respect, officer. It's for respect for your job and the fact that, what you do is dangerous. And you can't assume that I'm a nice guy because assumptions get you shot. So I just wanted to let you know we're good here. I said, here's my registration and my license, everything, blah, blah. I keep it in a little wallet right next to my driver's seat, so it's easy for me to get to if I should get pulled over. I don't really anymore, but just more prepared for that kind of thing. Oh, and my mic started right at the end. Alexa, resume! All right, don't miss me tomorrow. Supporters only. Any of my supporters that are watching, I will be on tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Friday, supporters only, 4 o'clock. And then again at 8 p.m. Don't miss me because we're going to have more updates on the injury report and so on. And we will talk about that tomorrow night. 8 o'clock, R8RBEAR family page. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow. R8RBEAR family pair. R8RBEAR family. Wait, what? I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, if you care, you share a R8RBEAR. I know.